Welcome to the Electric Playground. Today on the show, we're taking a look at some new content for Super Mario Maker.
Plus, Vic, Marissa, and myself get together for a review of The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes.
And then Jose and Sofia sneak in with a look at the new stealth game, Volume. Also coming up, Admiral Adama shares his favorite Star Wars memory. We're still struggling with the full title of Dragon Quest Heroes, and much more today on EP Daily. Brought to you by EB Games. I'm your host, Victor Lucas, bringing you the latest in everything cool every single day, and I've just found a power star, and I hope it lasts long enough for me to bring you the rundown. It's getting easier for you to make your own Mario levels. Nintendo has announced the next big update for Super Mario Maker. It will add several new features that fans have been asking for, including the ability to include checkpoint flags in your levels. That way you'll be able to start from the middle if you die near the end. Nintendo's also giving users the ability to customize blocks so they can give you a mushroom if you're small or a fire flower if you're already big, just like in the professionally made Mario games. Speaking of which, Nintendo will be adding new official Mario Maker courses, giving you new levels made by the actual Mario team. All the new content will be available November 4th. It looks like crafting Minecraft Story Mode is going to be a lot quicker than anyone thought. Earlier this week, Telltale Games surprised everyone by releasing the second installment of their episodic game Minecraft Story Mode without any prior warning. This comes just 2 weeks after the first episode launched. It usually takes the studio months to release new installments, so players hadn't expected to see episode 2 until early next year. Like other Telltale releases, every decision you make will stay with you and affect the story all the way up to the end. You can find our review of Minecraft Story Mode Episode 1 on EPN.tv.
Don't make yourselves the villains in my story.
Doesn't get much bigger in video games than Mario and Minecraft. Here to help me disseminate all of this information to you and have a discussion about that is my pal Marissa Roberto.
Yes, I'm here for you.
Yes, now Super Mario Maker, I love this dance.
I know, that was my interpretive. I'm here now.
I love
Let's
it.
talk about video games.
Super Mario Maker, people clamoring for more content.
Yeah.
Nintendo is not going to let off the gas. What do you think
No.
of this new checkpoint system?
Well, you know that I need it.
Yeah.
I need it very badly. No, it's because some of these levels are crazy hard, and I will never go back to them. I will never try them again. I'm one of those gamers that if I don't make it through the first time, the second time, the third time, I'm probably not going to jump in for a fourth.
Yeah.
I am checking out with
Yeah.
those checkpoints, so
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Well, I think the more exciting part of this this sort of next content evolution for the game, though, is the idea that the Mario team is going, they're getting in on this action. They're going to be
Good.
developing special stuff for us. I mean, that's an easy one to predict, but I can't
Of
wait to
course.
play those levels.
No, yeah, those will be the ones that I gravitate toward
Yeah.
as well. And of course, you know, those are going to be the ones that are, you know, heavily promoted.
Yes.
That are going to be easier to
And
jump into as well.
superstarred.
And superstarred,
Yes.
easy to find. So, you know, I like that as well. I mean, I guess, I don't know, but the creators out there are making a lot of great levels. If they like the news so much, because maybe their stuff's going to be buried a little
This
bit
sounds
more.
like a YouTube conversation.
It does sound like a YouTube conversation. You see how it all kind of comes
I
back
know.
around?
Well,
What's happening?
Speaking of YouTube, one of the biggest sensations on YouTube is Minecraft, and
know.
this story mode has really taken everybody by storm. Ben and Jose enjoyed the first installment. The second one's already here.
I can't believe the second one's already here.
This is the secret, right? If we get to the point where episodic games come out every week,
Yeah.
that's something that we as a, you know, as a society are kind of trained for with television. So if we
Yeah.
get games out that quickly,
That's true. I like the
incredible.
episodic thing. You're right.
It's awesome.
but I'm looking forward to playing this when we've got a break.
But you did assign us another review, actually all three of us
Yes,
together.
that's right.
Which is very interesting. This is Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes.
It's time for Scott and I to talk about the brand new Zelda game. It's called Triforce Heroes.
Wait, this isn't the new one, the big Zelda?
This is the big one, but
Are
it's
you sure?
it's on a small
Feels
system
like
on the
it's
3DS.
small. I was hoping this would be the
Oh, you wanted the
next gen one.
No, this is the Triforce Heroes 3DS game, brand new. And in fact, I don't think it should just be you and I. We should get our Doppel in here as well. Doppel, come and join us.
Oh, great! Triforce Heroes time.
Yes, because this is a
I've been
different
selected.
type of game. This is one where you're supposed to play with two friends.
You actually can't play with any other number other than 1 or 3.
Yeah.
There's no 2 option.
Which is very strange,
It's very
right?
strange.
It's
yeah.
strange and it's not right, I have to say, because I don't have 2 friends to play with. I like you guys and everything,
Yeah.
but you don't live close to me,
Right.
and I don't really want to jump online and try to find you.
Yeah.
So that was my main problem with this game. But I'm sure
schedules
things.
syncing is a tough thing, right?
It is. It
Yeah.
was a
Have
tough
your
thing.
secretary call my secretary.
Exactly, but there are doppels to play with,
Yeah.
which are very difficult to understand how
I
to
thought
play with.
you weren't supposed to play with your doppel.
No, you play with a doppel.
That's what my mother told me.
It was a very innocent line. You play with a doppel. You have two of them, and this is when you're playing solo, and it's very tricky because you got to bounce. He just loves his joke. Look at him.
Who?
You.
I don't love my own joke. That'd be weird.
Because he's like, you have a doppel to play with. Well, you have two of them to play with.
Oh, I went into that. Okay.
Yeah, you took it further, man.
But yes, even when you're playing solo, you got to deal with these two other characters, and you got to bounce back and forth between them to solve all the
It
puzzles.
is kind of funny the way your spirit will fly into the other scarecrows, and that's kind of what they look like. This concept is borrowed from Spirit Tracks.
Right.
It was something that Nintendo has been working on for a while. They pulled it together, and they wanted to do this as a three-person experience.
Yeah, and it's a lift, obviously, on the Four Swords Adventures games that they've done with Zelda before. And obviously, what we have now with the 3DS is a pretty sophisticated piece of machinery that will allow you to get online, so you don't necessarily have to play with friends. You can play with unknown people.
Yeah, but then you have to trust those unknown people. And the
Yes.
unknown people, I felt like didn't trust me so much when
What
I was
happened?
playing with them. Well, look, I fell in the water. I fell in the water at one point, and I felt like they had it with me.
Did you throw either of them into the water?
No, I didn't throw them into the water.
I was
just fell
constantly
into the
doing that.
water.
Okay.
And then I used a little, you can't speak at all.
Yeah.
But you have these little emotions
Emojis,
that
yeah.
you can put out there if you want. And so I just put out the little emoji where Link's just like,
And then they just left.
and then I think they abandoned me. I don't know. It said a lost connection, but I'm pretty sure that I was abandoned at
I
that
think
point.
there are a couple of networking issues with this. I kept getting, sort of disconnects on some of the games that I was in, and that was a little bit frustrating.
I kind of saw this as almost a parody of a Zelda game. It doesn't have any of the weight or the importance that normal Zelda games have.
Right.
I didn't sit down with my Zelda magnifying glass saying, what's right about this world? I could just, it was
Or
kind of
quite the satisfaction, though, either, right?
exactly. Like after you play it for an hour or two, you kind of feel like all of this is wearing thin. All of
Yeah.
it seems terribly insincere, and all of it seems like I think I'm just done playing this game.
I think, though, that Nintendo's made so many iterations of Zelda, and they've tried this social multiplayer Zelda type of gameplay in the past, that it's good for them to stretch out. And I also think that, more Zelda is never a bad thing. This might not be the best game in the franchise, but it's done with a lot more care and polish than, a lot of sort of quickie type games that sort of appear in other
I
characters'
disagree
libraries.
a little bit. I think it kind of felt more like Nintendo's moving more towards
Mobile
App
gaming?
Store,
Okay, yeah.
like very lighthearted, very just touch this, get through this, go to here, do this, and you just kind of keep moving, you keep doing things, but none of it really actually means anything. And trying to coordinate my schedule with other people's schedule and then waiting for the other one to come into the game, like it stinks. I hate it too.
It's either that or you have to have a couple of friends that have a 3DS and you can all get in the same room, which would be the preferred way to do it, because
have
then
those right there.
yes,
Look
yes,
at 'em.
Yes, we do.
But were you guys online? Were you in my world?
No, but maybe after this review, we'll go off and play a little bit more together. What do
You
you
want to
think?
tote them up together?
We'll tote them
You
up.
guys are going to abandon me when I fall into the water.
We're going to throw
I'll
you in the
probably
water.
push you in the water,
That'll
yeah.
be fun. All right, well, we got to score this up. It's definitely an interesting experiment from Nintendo. What are you going to give Triforce Heroes?
I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10, Vic.
Yeah, it gets
Marissa?
a 7 for me.
It gets a 7.5 from me. I guess so. Out of the three of us, I'm going to be the one that sticks with Triforce Heroes. Huh?
Yeah, you got that right.
Okay, well, I guess I'll see you online and we'll play together.
Aw, look, see you making friends all over the place.
Hi.
Don't go anywhere because after the break, we've got Jose and Sofia with a review of Volume.
Star Wars is obviously, I think, was an influence on Battlestar Galactica, and at least in terms of reaching for the stars. And it's back this year with a brand new film. Do you have any memories of Star Wars? You remember seeing Star Wars in the theaters back in the early days?
Yeah, I just finished going back and seeing a few of the episodes with my grandchildren. That was a lot of fun.
What do you recall about Star Wars? What's kind of a favorite memory that you have about Star Wars?
Well, I think that the world that they showed us for the very first time was amazing, and I still remember it very well.
Do you have any favorite characters in that universe?
The whole world.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Oh my God, this is no, that's all right. That's all right. This is incredible. Congratulations.
I see it.
Congratulations on Ash.
Thank you, sir.
Fantastic.
I don't have a hand. But...
Oh yeah, you don't. I almost got my hand chopped off.
Can you believe the intensity of celebrities in that last segment? I am a huge Bruce Campbell fan.
Well, I'm a huge Lucy Lawless fan, so I like that all of that happened right there. That was the best Star Wars memory by far. He's not gonna call you. Let's just relax. We gotta move on now to San Francisco because Jose and Sofia are here. They've got a game called Volume.
Stealing is bad, but if you're going to steal from the rich to give to the poor,
I would totally do that.
Totally
if
do
I
that?
could get away with it, yeah.
And then broadcast it to the internet.
I would live stream my robberies, is what I would do.
And that's what you do in Volume, where you play as a hacker activist.
Loxley.
Yeah, Rob Loxley. So if you know the Robin Hood classic, it's kind of a modern take on it. Well, very modern. It's like in the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Where you're hacking into this corporation and like stealing all their gems, and you're broadcasting this all online. So it's like a commentary on how, you know, social media and streaming is right now.
Yeah.
But you're doing this to kind of help the poor because this corporation has kind of taken over the government. Time for a revolution.
It is. It is time for a revolution. It's also time to steal things very stealthily because this game will make you be as stealthy as you need to be. There are some games where you can sort of weasel around it and not, I'm going to go through and kill things. No, no, no.
Have to be
This
stealthy.
game, you have to be stealthy. You cannot be seen. You don't want to be seen. Maybe if you're right by the exit, you can afford to be seen. But really, it's one of those experiences where you have to go through unscathed, steal all the jewels so the exit will open up, and then make your way to the exit to move on to the one of hundreds levels.
It's an isometric view, and you are Robin who's walking around trying to avoid guards, and there's the vision cone. I'm actually a fan of the vision cone because nowadays stealth games, like when they're in 3D, you're not really sure, like, am I too close? Like playing a bunch of Metal Gear Solid at 5, am I too close? Not close enough. But here, it's very clearly marked, okay, this guard can only see in this triangle.
That cone of terror,
Yeah.
stay out of.
And it's all these AI robots, so you're kind of prancing around them. I'm like, well, you can't see me even though I'm right next to you. There's a replayability as well. You can create your own levels. You also can try to get on the leaderboards. You're on a timer every level that you jump into because there's a par. It tells you how you're kind of doing compared to everybody else.
And that's the worst when you're over part. Like, okay,
And
I
each
have
level
to.
is quick. I mean, it doesn't take more than 2 minutes per level.
At max.
Max.
Early levels, you're like, okay, first level, 4 seconds, done.
Done.
Mastered
yeah.
it.
But if you listen to them talk, I'm like, hey, you're eating into my timer here.
Like, bro, can you wrap this up? Can I
And
just
there
play
are 100
this?
levels to get through, so you do want to move through it.
And there's the user-created levels. I played a Pac-Man level. What?
But what'd you think of Volume overall?
It was fun. It's been a while since I played a stealthy game that was sort of this vibe of stealthy, where I actually had to go in stealthy. I couldn't
Like
run and gun.
traditional stealth,
Yeah,
yeah.
old school Tenshu stealth action. So I had a good time playing it. I definitely look forward to seeing some of the cooler levels that other people out there can create and maybe diving into those. But overall, I mean, you get 100 levels of goodness for not a whole lot of money.
That's true.
Now, that's why I'm giving Volume a 7 out of 10.
I'm giving it an 8 out of 10.
You know, Marissa, I've got to confess, I think that Jose and Sofia are my favorite team on the show. Hi, guys.
Just, okay, I like them and everything, but what about us? I don't understand.
We're pretty good, but they're better. They're so good.
All right, I'm not jealous at all. I'm gonna move on now because I like another team on the show, Vic and Scott. They've got a game called Dragon Quest. Get this one, The World Tree Woe and The Blight Below. Got it.
Scott and I took a look at a brand new action RPG game from Koei Tecmo, Square Enix, and Omega Force, a Dragon Quest Heroes tree that has some
Tree
rules.
and the world below.
And the world below. This guy-
Something like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
this-
it's a very long, very awkward
title's a poem,
title.
basically.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's
It
lovely.
really is.
And basically what this does is it fuses the Dynasty Warriors cavalcade of action combat type of experience that we played for many, many iterations with the Dragon Quest lore and all of the heroes that we've seen in that huge, very successful RPG franchise. So it turns it into kind of a button mashing, get into the combat type of experience with little bits of story that you can either whip through or opt out of.
The best part of this game, for me, the most interesting part, is the beginning of this game. I
Yeah.
think it gets off to a good start. I think it does a pretty good job of introducing all the mechanics of these very complex Dragon Quest games. I like the voice acting in
Yes.
the game, and I think the writing is mostly pretty good, and I think the game does a pretty good job of introducing you you to this very kind of awkward world. They bring you in, and all of a sudden you're fighting off, feels like hundreds of monsters all at the same time, and you're unleashing these incredibly potent, very personal attacks, and the monsters are just flying all over the place. And then you meet some of the giant boss type characters, and that's when things get a little more interesting.
And you've got to have a little patience for it, and you've got to be into the Dragon Quest kind of aesthetic and the lore and the design. But I appreciate what was accomplished here.
I'm ready to give it a score, Vic.
What are you going to give it?
I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
It gets a 7.5 from me.
I must apologize to everyone out there, and I must apologize to you, Scott Jones, because I thought that I got the title right. Turns out I got it wrong. I was missing some plurals in there, and then heroes. It's a long title.
I thought you were apologizing for your fart earlier. Coming up next, after the break, we've got a review of Anki Overdrive. After this. Welcome back to EP Daily. You know, earlier in the show, we saw Jose working together with Sofia. I love those two, but his original partner and always his truest partner is Ben Silverman. Here they are with a review of Anki Overdrive.
Ben and I are reaching out and touching the maximum overdrive with Anki Overdrive. Now, this is pretty much the future of toys, I think. We've seen a lot of video game style toys with Skylanders and Amiibos and the Disney Infinity characters, but this brings race car driving to the hands of your iOS or Android device. Ben, what do you think of Anki Overdrive?
If Skylanders and Disney Infinity are toys to life, Anki Overdrive is life to toys, Jose, because that's what you're getting here. Now, these are essentially futuristic, modern, awesome, new school, tech-driven slot cars.
Yes!
Now, they don't actually have tracks, though, which is really what's so interesting about Anki. Last year, Anki Drive, the first release of this thing, was interesting because it came with like a mat. You would roll out this, like, basically a plastic carpet, and it had a mat.
It was literally like a plastic. It was like a
plastic
9-foot carpet.
Weapons in 3, 2.
I got to take a look at Anki Drive when it first came out, and I went to their offices and got to see it in action, and I'm like, this is cool. Like, you're controlling the car with your iPhone, you control it, and you can shift lanes with your remote. You're like shifting to the left, shifting to the right, and your car's moving on the track. And each of the cars has a special ability and weapons, so you can fire at different people. But with Overdrive, now the fact that you can create tracks had me worried at first. I'm like, how are these cars going to be able to figure out exactly what I'm creating when they're not familiar with it?
Right.
So the magic is that what happens is you put your cars down on the track, and you begin your race, and then the cars will just leisurely take the track, record what's there, and then they hit the starting line right away. And you're like, well, this is so cool. The first time it happens, they're like, they know where to go. They're ready.
The tech that's built into each piece of the track, you know, relays all this information to the car, and it tells them where the starting line is. It tells them where, for instance, when you try a jump, it tells the car that there's a jump coming up, speed up. It'll tell them that there's a turn here, so they're gonna stick to the track. It's amazing the way this stuff works.
Oh, it's cool though. We should get our sets together, and then we can just build a track around your entire house.
The biggest track ever.
We could do that.
I would love to do that. I mean, even snapping together the parts,
it feels good.
It works so well. I think it's clear that we're both big fans of Anki Overdrive. This technology is amazing. This experience is amazing.
I want all my toys to come to life on a pad like this.
It works really well if you've got the money for it, and I'm not sure anybody really has the money for this, but if you do have the money for it, I think it is money well spent, Jose. That's why I'm giving Anki Overdrive a 9 out of 10.
Right there with you, my friend. 9 out of 10 for me. Go play some Anki Overdrive. That was my missiles.
Okay, I don't know what you were doing.
I make sound effects.
Very interesting, Ben and Jose. I like the way you two work, and I like the way you both move. That's a little strange. Up next, Twitter question of the day after this.
If you want more EP, go to our website, epn.tv, for bonus content and full episodes. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Vampire vampire time again, boys and girls. Today we're taking a look at a movie called Let the Right One In. Now this is the original Swedish version. The American version I think was called Let Me In. And what you get here are two kids who are incredible actors, and I love the relationship between these two. Of course, one of the two kids is a vampire, and the other kid is just a kid who's trying to get through his life, and now he's got a friend who lives next door who's a vampire. My favorite part of the entire experience is just the loneliness of where the movie takes place. It's just this kind of urban, abandoned sprawl, and you just see these kids and you see the weird woodlands surrounding the apartment complex, and you see this thing and you can't forget it, and you see this thing and you just feel so angry at Hollywood for making its crappy remake. See the Swedish version, Let the Right One In. You will not forget it this Halloween.
Oh, thanks there, Scott Jones. I'm glad that this is actually coming to an end soon, though. I don't want to see any more of the spookiness.
Afraid of the spooky
I'm
stories.
afraid. I don't like the dark. Okay, but we're going now to the Twitter question of the day. This one is from Kyle Chenard, our old buddy, Mr. Precision.
Hi, Kyle.
Hey, Kyle. He asked, what's the biggest mistake ever made in the history of the video game industry? Whoa.
Ooh, there have been many. The UDraw tablet that THQ tried out and pretty much killed the company. The fake cheesy skateboard that they packed in with the Tony Hawk games. That was pretty terrible.
Are you going to say the Ouya?
No, I'm going to say Atari taking for granted the creative people that they had working for them when the 2600 was on top, which led to the formation of Activision, and that worked out pretty good for a lot of people. But Atari made a big blunder saying that every programmer and artist that was working on their games was replaceable.
Right, and then there was that E.T. game.
Oh, that was a big mistake too.
There have been a few mistakes here or there over time, but it's okay. We're in an okay place now.
Yes, we are. Great question, Kyle, as always. If you've got one for us, head to our website, epn.tv.
We've got more coming for you in the next episode of EP Daily, including our all Halloween special.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
EP would like to thank its sponsors, Nintendo, Xbox. EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by Gameloft, makers of Asphalt 8 Airborne, which you can play on your Android or iOS device for free right now.
Okay.